time is 9:04 p.m. Good evening. The news headline: NEF tells governors lockdown is not enough. Meanwhile, the Northern Elders Forum (NEF) has asked state governors to go beyond the imposition of economic and social lockdown on communities besieged by terrorists and facilitate an aggressive and effective military assault on bandits. The forum also advised the governors against allowing the perception that communities were on their own, even in the face of severe security threats, to take deeper roots. The Northern Forum has actually said through their Director Publicity and Advocacy, Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed, who made the call in a statement titled Security of Besieged Communities, where he said, "We are closely following the condition of many northern communities that have become particularly vulnerable to attacks and abuse by bandits, kidnappers, and related organized criminals." Measures being taken by some state governments, such as suspension of weekly markets, restriction on sale of petrol, closure of schools and some roads, curfew, movement of cattle, and plans to restrict communication, will compound the desperate conditions of living of many communities in the north. These measures represent virtual economic and social lockdowns on people who had been at the mercy of criminals for a long time. Unless they are accompanied by an aggressive and effective assault on banditry and kidnapping, they will merely add to the misery and hopelessness of our communities. Worse, they could even further embolden the bandits and kidnappers when it becomes clear that governments and security agencies cannot go beyond lockdowns on communities. Communities themselves will lose even more faith in the capacity of the Nigerian state to respond to their desperate circumstances. The perception that communities are on their own must never be allowed to take deeper roots, but it will when people see that only the bandits and the kidnapper are winning. State governments imposing additional hardship on communities must know that the measures they are introducing must produce a tangible result within a period that makes them meaningful and tolerable. The forum called on the federal government to assist states to relieve communities living under additional pressure. The time is 9:07, and this is the analysis due to the insecurity going on in the country. The Northern Elders Forum has actually asked the state governors to go beyond imposition of economic and social lockdown on communities besieged by terrorists, as it is known that many some governors, like that of Katsina, Zamfara, have actually said that the citizens of the state, like people residing in the state, should actually start fending for themselves, should actually defend themselves of any likely assault or any form of insecurity, that they should be self-defendant as at this point in time. And the Northern Elders Forum has been against this kind of notion, saying that that such a perception was very wrong in the face of severe security threats, and that the vulnerable attack and abuse by these bandits and kidnappers and related organized criminals has to be addressed by the security agencies. He said that measures being taken by some states, such as suspension of weekly markets, restriction on sale of petrol, closure of schools and some roads, curfew, that some cattle should not walk, like they should not allow cattle to walk, and they should restrict communication between some places. He said all these things are desperate conditions of living many communities in the north, and that it will only compound problem for them, because the bandits are actually frustrating the lives of the people, and also some of these policies are adding to the problems of the commuters, and will even make most of them to consider that since the kidnappers are winning and since these bandits are winning, they might seemingly have no other choice than to join the status quo, and this will continue to further cause harm and a breakdown for the country. He said that these measures represent virtual economic and social lockdown on people who had been at the mercy of criminals for a long time, and this was said by the Northern Elders Forum Director, Publicity and Advocacy, Dr. Hakeem Baba Ahmed, where he made this statement in one of his interviews and titled "Security of Besieged Communities," where he said that they are closely following the condition of many northern Nigerians that have become particularly vulnerable to attacks and abuse by these bandits. He said that worse, they could further embolden the bandits and kidnappers when it becomes clear that governments and security agencies cannot go beyond lockdown on communities. When these policies are becoming too unbearable for the commuters, then these kidnappers would have much more motivation to further abuse and further intimidate and harass the commuters. And the perception that communities are on their own must never be allowed to take deeper roots, because if it should, the people will see bandits and kidnappers winning. And state governments imposing additional hardship on communities must know that the measures that they are taking should produce tangible results within a period or a very small period of time, that is meaningful. Because once that kind of laws and implementation is taking too much of time, then they are only making life much more intolerable and difficult for the commuters. And amidst all the problems in the country, where there have been attacks here and there, gunmen kidnapping a lawmaker's wife, a particular one that happened in a residence at Kurami village in Bakori local government area of the state.